Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening. This is the National News Telecast. I'm Uvin Hettiarachchi.
A very good evening to you. I'm Sharifa Tahir. Let's take a look at the headlines.
Indo-Sri Lanka special discussion on fisheries dispute in the north and cooperation in the fields of energy and digitalization. Passport problem to be ended in December. 1,600 passports currently being issued daily. The President says that a digital economic ministry will be set up for the service of people. China says a new chapter has been opened in Sri Lanka with the new president. No egg shortage in the country. Poultry Businessmen's Association says there are enough chicken stocks as well. Another vehicle suspected to be belonging to former Minister Johnston recovered in Kottava. 1,818 deadly road accidents in the year up to the 25th of September with 1,898 deaths. North Korea pledges to support Russia in the war against Ukraine. Now to those and more stories in detail on today's top story. The Building Research Institute has taken measures to further extend the earthquake warnings as a result of heavy rainfall.
Accordingly, landslide warnings have been released under the second stage in the districts of Kalathura, Kandy, Karagal, Mathura and Ratnapura districts. It has been reported that the water level in the Dadru Oya reservoir has reached spill level due to heavy rains. Accordingly, steps have been taken to open 4 sluice gates of the reservoir. The engineer in charge of the reservoir says a water capacity of 11,200 cubic feet is being released to the Dadru Oya in 1 second with the opening of each of the sluice gates by 4 feet each. The Department of Irrigation says the influx of water does not pose any flood threat in the lower areas of the Dadru Oya. The Akurasa-Deniaya main road has been inundated due to the inclement weather condition. A vehicle congestion has been taken place as a result of the flood situation, which has caused inconvenience to a large section of the public. The lashing rains have also flooded several locations in the Yatalamata-Unanvitiya road in Gaul. 5 houses were damaged due to fall of a large tree in the first lane in Kaludavala, Matale. The District Disaster Management Centre says measures are underway to remove the fallen tree and to grant relief to those displaced as a result.
The Department of Immigration and Emigration says 50,000 blank passports are under the P category have been received in accordance with the agreement entered into with the relevant foreign institute for purchasing foreign passports. It has also been reported that a further 750,000 blank passports are to be received by the department in the forthcoming period. The Department of Immigration and Emigration in a communique released has further pointed out that in addition to the blank passports received in the P category, it is expected to receive further 100,000 passports by the end of this month and an additional consignment of 150,000 blank passports by December of this year. In parallel to these developments, a procurement process for a further stock of blank passports has gotten underway. Accordingly, it is expected to release around 1,600 foreign passports daily to applicants. It has also been indicated that the processing of an appropriate methodology for the issuance of foreign passport to be catered to increase the demand of the beginning of December onwards. Meanwhile, the Department of Immigration and Emigration says steps have also been taken to prepare a methodology for the reservation for a date and time to obtain passports via online. These procedures will be implemented shortly.
President Anura Kumara had a special meeting with Indian High Commissioner Santosh Shah last evening at the Presidential Secretariat. The meeting has focused attention on strengthening bilateral ties and addressing fishing disputes, also exploring cooperation in energy and digitalization. The discussion was also centered on strengthening the long-standing relationship between the two nations, including a detailed review of Indian assistance projects in Sri Lanka, where progress and challenges were highlighted. They also addressed the ongoing fishing disputes in the Northern Sea, with both parties stressing the importance of a long-term resolution that respects the needs of fishermen from both countries and promotes cooperation. President Dissanayake affirmed his commitment to protecting the interests of the Sri Lankan fishing community. The President has expressed interest in learning from India's expertise in power and energy sector development and the digitalization process with a view to advancing these areas in Sri Lanka with India's support. Deputy High Commissioner Dr. Satyanjal Pandey also attended the meeting.
Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amasuria has met with several foreign diplomats yesterday. A special attention has been focused on this occasion on the development of local education sector. Prime Minister also had discussion with German Ambassador in Sri Lanka, Felix Neumann, at the Prime Minister's office. The issues that were given prominence at the talks included local education sector development and the development of vocational skills. Prime Minister's Secretary Pradeep Saputantri and the head of the German delegation, Olaf Mandl-Cho, were also participating in the meeting. Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amasuria has also met with local representatives of the United Nations Children's Security Fund, Kristen Skoog, at the Prime Minister's office yesterday. The meeting also dealt in-depth issues including the development of child security and education, safeguarding of children's rights and creation of environment pertaining to secured learning. Another between the Prime Minister and the head of International Organization of Migration, Christine B. Parko, took place at Prime Minister's offices this afternoon. Attention was focused on the development of security measures of fight against cybercrimes and the release of Sri Lankan nationals being detained in Myanmar. President of Singapore Press Club Patrick Danier also met with the Prime Minister yesterday. The meeting focused attention on Sri Lanka's technology and vocational education, creation of a conducive environment for investment and enhancing of long-standing bilateral relations.
President Anura Dissanayake pledges to take charge of all responsibilities that have to be fulfilled on the national level with the maximum strength and expeditiously. A Ministry of Digital Economic is scheduled to be established. The President has made these remarks addressing a public rally in Kandy today. The meeting has been organized to consolidate the victory of candidates of the National People's Power contesting the general public from the Kandy district. Massive crowds have attended the rally held at the Verapitia grounds in Mahayava, Kandy. K.D. Lal Kanta of the NPP has called on the party activists to have a target to elect 10 NPP parliamentarians from the Kandy district. He added that many could have pointed this as an overestimation. He has acknowledged this fact but added that they had a craziness to elevate a person who had 3% of votes to the post of president. This motivation had become a reality.
President
Anura Dissanayake said that in Kandy there had been a culture where the parties shooting at each other. He has also requested those who were present at the meeting to realize the fact of what would have happened if any group other than the NPP had won the previous presidential election. The President had tried to visualize the situation in Navalapitia if another group won the election. The President further said that they are in the process of building a conducive political culture in place of the ugly political wrangling that had prevailed prior to the election. He also said that previous governments were forcefully utilizing their authority, especially during the election period. The President added that, however, the NPP has never utilized its power in the election process. The current political culture has minimized wastage to the highest extent. The President also said that he is hoping to arrive at the Rupavahini channel in the very near future and hope to unveil many facts on this occasion. The general public would be able to know how the previous politicians had utilized the state properties for their pleasurable lifestyles to the maximum extent and how they got addicted to luxurious living. Even in defeat, these politicians were reluctant to forfeit their undue privileges. They were sending lists seeking protection in vehicles even after the defeat. They were trying to pump fuel into their vehicles at government expense. They were having cooks at their residences at government expense. The former presidents were trying to own public property, considering themselves as holding power at present. The President also said the National People's Power will stop this ugly political culture. In order to carry forward the new political culture of the NPP, the Parliament has to be cleaned with the people's vote on the 14th of November. the parliamentary chamber will have to be filled with members of the NPP. The president further said the opponents are saying the newcomers would be inexperienced. The president has inquired what were the experiences of the defeated politicians, their experience in robbing public property. They also had the experience in wastage. Unregistered vehicles are being found at different places. These vehicles were not brought through customs. Therefore, they do not bear RMV registration numbers. These defeated politicians were driving unlicensed vehicles without any fear. They are adapted to stay above the law. The president said the NPP members could be newcomers to parliament, but they are no newcomers to politics. Commenting on the digital economy, the president has pointed out that most important Sri Lankan professional in the field of digital technology, who is holding a top position on the international scale, has abandoned all his privileges to come to Sri Lanka and join hands with the Sri Lankan digital industry without expecting a single cent as payment.
අපි හදනකම් බලාගෙන හිටපු කට්ටිය අපි හැම දිනාටම කියනවා අවුරුවත් කලබල වෙන්න එපා වැඩේ හරියට කරන්න.
Leader of the Samajana Malavegaya, Sajid Premadasa, requests voters to hand over a majority of the power to his party in order to safeguard democracy. He made this request addressing a public meeting in Colombo Central yesterday. The meeting was organised to extend support to SJB candidate contesting in the general election from the Colombo district. Several party representatives have attended the event. Leader of the Samajana Sandhania, Sajid Premadasa, said that they will safeguard democracy throughout the country. He further said that opportunities should be granted for the media to express its opinion. Media freedom will be protected, and only when there's media freedom, there will be democracy, that rights could be protected. He called on people to elect a majority of the group of parliamentarians from the SJB in the forthcoming election in order to safeguard the democratic rights and the media freedom. He also called on the creation of a common man's era, giving strength to 22 million people. Former parliamentarian S.M. Marika said that Ranil Wickremesinghe has requested to vote to defeat Sajid Premadasa. He added that, however, Ranil Wickremesinghe today is a defeated politician, but they are contesting the polls.
National organizer of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Namal Rajapaksa, says the state service should be fully under the process of digitalization and extends his appreciation to the present government for the keen interest shown in this connection. The SLPP national organizer was addressing a public rally in Balangoda yesterday. The aim of the meeting was to consolidate victory of the SLPP candidates contesting the general election. National organizer of the SLPP, Namal Rajapaksa, said that today they are requesting the government to control the cost of living. He has also requested to generate employment opportunities. These are issues which cannot be fulfilled within a day. He has requested the government to lay the basic foundation to resolve the problems. Namal Rajapaksa further said elections are not needed for salary increases. Salary increments will have to be carried out in respect of state income and according to requests of each of the sectors. The SLPP national organizer further said that the present president has focused attention on digitalization program. He has commended the program, pointing out the national mechanism of the country should be digitalized. The changes will have to be carried out today itself. He has expected hope that the government will take over the responsibility.
Former President Ranil Wickremesinghe says there is no use in voting for the Samajana Malavegaya and therefore requests the voters to cast their votes for gas cylinder symbol. He has made these remarks addressing a public meeting in Kandy. The event was organised in the aid of the candidates of the New Democratic Front contesting for the Kandy district at the general election. Former President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that he is specifically restricting the XAB members to cast their votes for the gas cylinder symbol at the general election. He has called on the SJB not to go for before Anura, requesting the Prime Minister's portfolio. He has also said that the country needs a Prime Minister on behalf of the people today. He further said that he is being scolded, but pointed out that he is not a candidate and that he is unable to come to the parliament. But there are all scolding him. Ranil Wickremesinghe has added, therefore, he is requesting his party candidates to go to house canvassing in order to elect candidates of the gas cylinder symbol to the parliament.
China says that a new chapter has opened in Sri Lanka under the presidency of Anura Kumara. Chinese ambassador in Sri Lanka, Ki Zhenghong, also says that China is a good partner of Sri Lanka. He has made these remarks participating in a scholarship presentation ceremony at the Kapatipula Central College in Valimada. The ambassador has also paid floral tributes at the statue of Kapatipula Nilami erected at the school premises. A cash contribution of 2.5 million rupees was distributed among 100 students under the China Scholarship Program. Envoy Ki Zhenghong also said 900 smart classrooms will be constructed in 500 schools in remote areas in the country.
The Poultry Businessmen's Association says that there is no shortage of eggs in the country. President of the association, Matali Jayasekara, said at a media briefing in Colombo today that enough chicken meat is also available in the country.
President of the Poultry Businessmen's Association, Matali Jayasekara, said that at present there is no shortage of eggs in the country, but had predicted the possibility of any shortcoming in the December or later this month during the festive season. He has also said that there is no shortage of chickens as well. The chicken price is 800 rupees and in supermarket the price is around 860 rupees. There are eggs in the market at the price of 35 rupees. In certain places the price is below 35 rupees. Some people are accusing of egg shortage with the intention of gaining an advantage during the election season. The president of the association said middlemen taking a profit of 4 rupees from each egg. It was pointed out that a meeting of the Consumer Affairs Authority that if the government provides raw materials and maize as promised, the price of an egg could be further reduced. The All Ceylon Egg Manufacturers Association pointed out that many problems could arise regarding the price of eggs in future due to traders deciding on the price in place of egg producers. Rice businessman Dadli Sirisena says that the government should not be blamed over the existing shortage of Nadu rice and price fluctuation on rice in the country. Rice businessman Dadli Sirisena said that out of their purchases, 68% were Kiri Samba and only 10% were Nadu rice. The main type of consumption is the Nadu rice. In the recent times, the price of a kilo of Kiri Samba had shot to a level as high as 420 rupees. However, the demand is less than 10%. The market moves according to the principle of supply and demand. Now there is a shortage of Nadu rice. The shortage is being used as a weapon against the government during the election season. Dadli Sirisena further said they hope to engage in a dealing with the government to cultivate more of the Nadu variety of paddy from next season onwards.
The police have apprehended a low Ford Laser motor car without number plates, suspected to have been owned by Foreign Minister Johnston Fernando in Kottava. The raid was conducted according to a tip-off received by the Nugegoda police station. It has been revealed that the vehicle was brought to the location due to a mechanical failure on the 28th of February this year by a driver of Johnston Fernando. It has also been reported that the owner of the vehicle repairing station has told the police that the number of the vehicle was written on a piece of paper as KM5421 when it was bought for repairs.
And now we move on to the weekly economic review.
A 20-member delegation from the Singapore Press Club SPC is now in Sri Lanka for a goodwill visit. They will stay in the country until the 9th of this month, 2024, with the objective of learning more about the culture, economic, politics and people of Sri Lanka.
The Singapore Press Club selected Sri Lanka as their destination for this year's annual goodwill mission on the request of the High Commissioner Seniratna Sanaika. The president of the Singapore Press Club heads the delegation. In addition to exploring the natural beauty and cultural diversity of the most exciting tourism sites in Sri Lanka, the delegation will meet the Honourable Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya, Honourable Governor of the Northern Province, Mr. Nagalingam, and the Honorary Consul General of Singapore in Sri Lanka, Dr. Jayantha Dharmadasa, during their visit. Upon returning, the delegation will share their experience through social media, printed media and TV channels contributing to the promotion of Sri Lanka tourism in Singapore.
The police says 1,818 deadly accidents had taken place in the period starting from January 1st to September 25th of this year, causing deaths of 1,898 people. Most of the victims were pedestrians. 6 persons were killed in accidents which occurred yesterday alone. 2 female students on the Kota Defence University were killed in a bus accident taking place in Ambagaskandia area on Dunadehe Badulla Road. 40 more students were injured in the incident. The injured are still undergoing treatment at the Badulla General Hospital. Senior physician at the emergency unit of the hospital, Dr. Palitha Rajpaksa, says the conditions of the injured students are returning for the better. Meanwhile, another person was killed and 20 injured in a road accident near the Somerset estate in Nanu Radalla Road. An advancing lorry was reported to have hit a motor car and crashed with an incoming van. We'll be back with foreign news after a short break. Now on to foreign news. North Korea will back Russia until it achieves victory in the Ukraine. North Korean Foreign Ministry Cho Son-hai said in Moscow as the United States warned of thousands of Pyongyang troops were in the Ukrainian border and could be soon deployed into combat.
In her meeting on Friday with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, North Korean Foreign Minister also accused the US and South Korea of plotting a nuclear strike against her country. She said North Korea had no doubt that under Putin's wise leadership, the Russian army and people would achieve a great victory in their sacred struggle to protect the sovereign rights and security interests of their state. However, both foreign ministers did not address statements by leaders in Ukraine, South Korea and their Western allies that Pyongyang had deployed some 10,000 North Korean soldiers to Russia to fight in Ukraine.
The death toll from the recent floods that affected Spain has risen to about 200. Many more are still missing and authorities are continuing efforts to locate the missing people. Almost all of the deaths confirmed so far have been Valencia region on the Mediterranean coast. Some areas have been particularly devastated. This town of Porta, a population of 25,000, reported at least 62 deaths. Various factors, including drivers becoming trapped in their cars, poor planning by officials, and extreme rainfall are being exacerbated by the climate change, all like to have contributed to these death tolls.
Serbian president says that 14 people have been killed after a concrete canopy at a railway station in northern Serbia collapsed. Serbian president said that a young girl aged 6 or 7 was among the dead people, was sitting on benches under the outdoor overhang at the station in Novi Sad, Serbia's second city, at the time of the collapse. 3 people are in hospital. Among them are 2 women who were pulled alive from under the rubble a few hours after the collapse. In an address to the nation, Mr. Vucic said he hoped the number of dead would not rise beyond 14, adding that 5 of those killed had still not been identified. We now move on to sports news. The Sri Lanka team has become successful today to gain eligibility to enter the semi-finals of the Hong Kong Sixers cricket tournament.
Accordingly, the Sri Lanka team is scheduled to play against Bangladesh in the second semi-finals tomorrow. The Sri Lankan team competed in the third quarter-final against Nepal today. The Sri Lankan team, batting first in the match, scored a Mission Roads Gowns in Hong Kong, scored 123 runs for the loss of 2 wickets within the 6 allotted overs. Sandan Virat Kohli scored 50 runs and captain Lahiru Madhushankar remained not out at 31. The Nepalese team in reply was all out for 83 runs in 5 overs. Accordingly, the Sri Lankan has secured a 40-run victory. Other teams have qualified to play against Sri Lanka in the semi-final round, including Australia and Pakistan. The first semi-final will be worked out between Australia and Pakistan.
Introduction of the official uniform partner of the Sri Lanka men's and women's cricket teams was held in Colombo today. The sponsors of the event was the Sri Lankan T Cricket. Captain of the Sri Lanka cricket team, Dhananjaya De Silva, captain of the Sri Lanka One-Day and T20 teams, Charit Asalanka, members of the Sri Lanka cricket team, Harsita Samaravikrama, officials of the Sri Lankan cricket trainers and several other cricketers were present at the occasion. Uniforms are to be provided under the official logo in all occasions of participation outside of the grounds for all Sri Lankan cricketers in the upcoming 3-year period.
That's it for tonight's English News telecast. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Good night.